Welcome to the open view. Open view may pull up a chair.
There's a blue one. Harrigan and Bill are having a go. Standing there, trading one.
A new documentary, Frackman, shares Dane's 5-year battle against the coal seam gas industry.
Bill of Frackman snarks. This is the open view.
We're back with the open view. G'day, Bella.
How you going, mate?
We just want to let everyone know that we want to do more of these chats where we always try and get the three of us together. But the problem is we're busy. Everyone's got jobs, families. You know, like Gurks, he's a male stripper. He can't get out of doing a late Saturday night gear off kit. He's always trying to brine his pickle?
Mate, I feel his pain. In my earlier days, I had the same problem.
For you're such a handsome man.
I am. I'm pretty.
So what we've decided to do is bring in a fourth member. And now, if you guys are on Facebook, you might know this account. And this guy's got 500,600,000 followers. He does really good commentary on US elections, especially on Trump. I fucking love Australia. Graeme, come on down. How you going, mate?
Good, mate. Good.
Everyone, meet Graeme. Give us your story, Graeme.
Mate, long-time political animal. Got into social media about 10, 12 years ago and had a certain gift with it. And I was actually getting into cycling, mate, at the time because I was a reformed alcoholic and wanted to get fit. So I started doing long-distance cycling. And then one day we actually got a law.
It was weird.
Yeah, we actually got a law passed, mate, the safe cycling distance law, after a violinist, up-and-coming violinist, got killed by a cement truck. And so we petitioned Parliament, got that through, got laws changed, rolled out across Australia. And then we had a guy who contacted us about starting a political party. Well, what do you mean start a political party? He goes, yeah, we'll start a cycling party. I'm like, okay, we'll start a cycling party. That morphed into something else and turned into the Australian Workers' Party. And at the time, I was skint. I didn't have any money. So it was like, I need to build a website. I need to do all this stuff to try and get the membership to be able to get registered. And so I started to learn video editing, copywriting, all that sort of stuff, building websites. And I just got really, really good at it and got really, really good at doing viral content by literally looking at a lying politician, dissecting it, and then just getting on there and just shredding them. Like, because one thing I can say amongst you guys is we hate liars, right? We hate people misrepresenting us. We hate the fact that we're funding these people and they can literally just get on there and camouflage themselves working on behalf of fossil fuel industries or big interests, right? Because we all know, we've all got that feeling that these guys are not working on behalf of us. They're not, sure, there's good politicians in there. And I've seen them come and go too. They usually get shredded.
Great.
But so yeah, I had the fire in my belly, mate, and that's I've always been political, but having your own registered federal party is a whole different beast, a whole different animal. And like we were discussing before, mate, like you can get burnout, and I didn't really have the support. I think out of like 12 million potential votes, we got like 7,000 or something. It was really disappointing. Some guy working for the ABC went through every political party's policies to work out who's really the right fit for the Australian people out of all these parties and all their policies and all their bullshit. And we actually came out number one, right? I'm like, hang on, we've actually got some really good policies here. And it was very disappointing to feel that you only got that 7,000 votes. So it ended up getting deregistered, mate. We got no funding. We had no capital. There wasn't enough people prepared to, even though there were people helping, there wasn't enough. So I sort of just kicked the can down on social media and just like that mad barking dog down the back of the paddock, just throwing haymakers every now and again, you know what I mean? So, yeah. And I went pretty quiet for a while there. Just sort of, it started to eat you up. And you know what it's like, guys, right? You're constantly on the treadmill, right? You're picking up information.
That's how we ended up all connecting, because we were being eaten up thinking, I need some support here. I need to talk to someone about this. And that's when Bella and I got in contact, and then we got in contact with Gurks, and you and I had already had a chat online before all that. And that's what's actually brought us all together, is the burnout that social media can have on you, because we've all got families, we've all got jobs, we've all got lives, but we're also trying to help steer a conversation that needs to be had in this country.
I think you guys touched on it, and I totally agree. But it actually runs probably a little bit deeper than that. From Graham's point of view, the whole setting up a party, like I've been in a similar situation. But what happens is when people say we should do, what they're saying is you should do.
Correct.
And, you're standing there, you're leading the charge, you turn around and everyone's run away. Now, what I've found since doing this, and especially since I linked up with Frackers and Gurks, it gives me a sounding board. But what I've discovered is that there's a whole lot of people out there, and I call what I do the sensible centre. And I say it's like a tennis match. We're either side of the net, but we're playing the same game. The extreme right, extreme left, they're like the idiots up in the back of the stand throwing cans and carrying on. The trouble is the people watching us, or the people in the stands down lower that are watching, your Labor and your Conservatives and whatever, they're starting to feel they're isolated because of the noise up behind. And that's what I found. As soon as you give a bit of a rally point, there's so many people that have just said, look, I was just going to chuck it in, but all of a sudden now there's a voice. So it's
noisy minorities. Noisy minorities are a problem.
Well, it is. And Graeme said about people telling lies. I think there's something even, slightly more dangerous than telling lies. It's selective use of the truth, because it's so much more insidious. Slip of the tongue. But
football player.
There's a few kilos here that's never played football, I'm telling you. I just think all of a sudden it's time to get out there and start making noise. It's time to ask people to be smarter about what they do, rather than this all politicians do that, all politicians, they're no good. Why don't we start using our brains, pick the decent ones, back them to the hilt. I don't care what side they're on. And as far as the other ones are concerned, just burn them.
That is no, let's say, incitement of any violence. That was not what that comment was about. I just have to make sure that is clear. That is a metaphorical term.
Right, that's it. I'm going, mate. I'm leaving. No violence.
It's like you're on your own.
We need to speak to them in a very stern fashion. How's that?
Agreed.
Is that
much better? Much
I
better.
mean, look,
I think
at the end of the day, what we're doing is, we're grinding along. And I've had conversations with people who have messaged me where I've been speaking about EVs. And normally, someone would put some stupid comment like, it doesn't have enough range and the batteries catch on fire, the usual crap. And I thought, what, I'll take a different tactic. I'll actually see if I can educate this guy instead of just being spiteful and belittling him. I'll just put in the information and go, look, here you go. Now, this guy was living in WA in a regional area, and he was legitimately worried about an EV not having the range to do what he wanted to do. But it came across as like, one of those petrol sniffers, right? And I educated the guy, or gave him the information to educate himself should he choose to do it. I get a message from the guy saying, you know what, I really appreciate the fact that you took the time to tell me and undo the disinformation about the EVs. And he's like, I'm actually going to go and buy one now. And I want to thank you for that. And that was before the fuel actually went through the roof because of our little mate Trumpelstein, right? So I'm thinking, you know what, I just had a win because I was genuinely being kind. Yeah.
And I think that's where I really come across with my content too. I really try not to make it polarizing. I try to really take a neutral stance. Everyone says, you're very pro-renewables. I'm not pro-renewables. No project's perfect. No renewable project's perfect. No fossil fuel project is all bad. I try to take an educational tone and stance on what I'm doing to try and undo exactly what you've just said. Some of those pushed myths by either far right or far left bad actors that have left us in this real vacuum of what's factual and what's people's feelings. So I think that's where we've all come across to the same point. And I think Bella, I've said it before, I live a lot of my life through Bella's comments because he doesn't mind to rip it out in his comment section.
It depends. I do have what would you say, rules of engagement. So I try to put across facts and data, what I can find, and I try to use stuff that the average person can find as well. So if they doubt me, they can go and find it. They don't have to go to any obscure website or any great lengths to do it. Now, when people just spout an ideology without any fact, I struggle with that. And when people say this is not good enough, but do not offer an alternative, that starts to, and that's where I say, what's your alternative? But when someone starts off with a personal attack, either on an individual or on me, ad hominem attack, I'm sorry, gloves are off. I like to serve it back to them hot and steaming, exactly the same as what they did. And I'll give you an example. I put a post up today. Similar thing to back in when the Australian of the Year was announced, the absolute excoriation of that fine lady was disgraceful, purely because she was a woman. Now, the same thing, again, highly charged topic, but they're having a go at the Commissioner of the Australian Federal Police. And one of the best is, and I'll call him that festering little dweeb, Bernie Finn, who loves to get out there. He's desperately trying to worm his way up in One Nation. And it was a really disgraceful personal attack. And I did that, and it's a pity in a way I posted it, and then I saw Fraser Anning, another a luminary of the far right, had done a similar thing, if not worse, basically because she's a woman. Now, she was doing a job, but what I'm getting at is someone commented and they said to me, blah, 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 that's a person, everyone's entitled to their opinion, that's a personal attack on Bernard Finn. And I thought to myself, mate, and I replied, you're dead right, it is, for the simple fact that you're criticising me having an opinion on the opinion he had. So, yes, I'm entitled to an opinion. Yes, it's a personal attack because his was a personal attack. And then he got all sooky because I was having a go at him. Like the absolute, what would you say, hypocrisy of it. They can attack personally. I can't attack in kind, supposedly. They can have an opinion. I can't have an opinion or an opinion on their opinion. And I just get sick of going through this. But what it is it irks me that people just aren't self-aware enough to step back, look at what they're doing and go, oh, I've just opened myself up by accusing someone of doing the same thing as the person I'm defending.
And a lot of people are never willing to back down on what they've said. They know they're wrong. And at no point will some people go, okay, I'm wrong. I apologise. I'm going to walk that back. It's just
They're
not,
topic
doesn't happen
hoppers.
often enough.
As soon as you nail them on one, they go, oh, what about this?
Yeah, the whataboutisms.
And they jump to a completely
Look over there.
irrelevant topic.
Yeah, the whataboutisms Olympics. They'll go into, pretzels, put themselves into pretzels, like to be able to get out of the next one. And that's where they catch you out, right? That's where they get you. And like we're old enough to know now that we don't fall for that shit. We get them on the spot.
Can we coin that term, pretzel people? I like it. I like it a lot. I'm going to use it in one of my next clips. Is that okay, Graeme?
It's all yours, brother.
Thank you, sir.
And I think that is a really good point that they do. And I find it in my reels. I made a reel yesterday or the day before about how we can't make urea because we don't have enough gas that's allocated to the Australian market. It's too expensive, blah, 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 blah. And then people came in and said, but what about the oil in wind turbines? I'm like, how is that even relevant to this conversation? And I never, ever entertain that conversation. If you want to talk about that, go and find a post or a reel that I've made about that, make that comment there. Otherwise, you just get dragged through the weeds and nothing ever gets achieved. And I just don't entertain it anymore.
Yeah.
I get the same people. You know, you can put a post up, touchy-feely one might be, you know, we're walking cattle or something like that, and people discuss the cattle. I had one where I showed a heifer and said, hey, guys, guess what she is, what her makeup is. And a lot of people were really good. And then all of a sudden someone jumps in and talks about something that I spoke about weeks ago, you know, about Trump or One Nation or whatever. That's what that's for, block. See you, mate. I don't just delete the comment. They're gone. They are so inappropriate that they're never going to learn.
It's also the nature of social media, right? Let's face it. It's a pretty fluid, fast and flowing platform. It's an arena. It's like, you know, go back to the Roman days when they were throwing fruit at the next, you know, gladiator going into the ring, right, to get fed to the lions. No one puts any time or effort into anything. It's always a throwaway comment, throwaway line. It's a cacophony of laziness for many people. They could be scrolling while they're taking a dump on the dunny or taking the dog for a walk, or maybe the kids are, or they've had a bad day at work. Yeah, they don't really put a lot of time and effort into it, whereas we do, right? So we're sitting there in the ecosystem, way above the food chain, and basically repurposing this platform to suit our narrative. And it goes against the grain in a lot of sense, right? Because initially Facebook was just a fun thing to connect with friends, and that legacy is sort of still there to a certain extent. And so, yeah, we're sort of bucking the system, and we have to maintain our credibility and not get caught up in all that Pretzel.
Your comment about laziness is perfect, because I think they're closely allied. You've got physical and intellectual laziness. So that comment that turns up on a relatively social post is the person that wants to say something to you but couldn't be bothered going to your page, scrolling through to find the appropriate post and then put the comment there. That's the level of laziness. But we see that in the discussion, in the commentary on what's going on. You name it. The fuel, the actual war in Iran, One Nation. People just make this comment. There's nothing behind it. There's no thought. You know, As far as One Nation goes, oh, well, they're better than the other two. And what I've just done now is go, tell me how. And I have never got a cogent reply to that question.
It's funny that, isn't it?
Not one.
As soon as you ask the question, it always makes them examine their own thought process. And that's when they buckle every single time, because I ask the same question, tell me how, gone. Never hear back from them. And it's because you make them examine their thought process and what's actually going through their brain. And some people go, oh, I'm wrong, and potentially go, I'm just going to back out of this conversation and either change. But a lot of the hardliners who are in a cult, they'll just keep on going regardless of their voting record and their terrible behaviour. Gentlemen,
I'll contest what you said, I think, and you're right at the end result, and you're right with many of them, but some of them, as soon as you challenge, they are too lazy to even bother and just go, it's all too hard, I'm out. They don't even self-reflect. They don't self-analyse. They don't look into it. So ultimately, intellectual laziness.
They're not our audience. Our audience is a sensible centre who may think one thing and is able to walk it back and go, I'm wrong. I made a mistake. Hey, we've been fluently chatting for 20 minutes, fellas. Why don't we wrap this one up? Everyone, thanks for joining us. So welcome, Graeme. Sorry, Dirk's not here. Let's make some music. Is that what you're saying? Make some music? Let's make some...
Make beautiful music. We're not making babies, are we? Because if that's what we're doing, I'm out of here.
God.
There's none of that shit going on. I'm telling you.
I'm waiting for the Hawaiian band to roll out, mate. Looking at Marty's shirt he's got on there, mate. Where are you coming from, mate? I'm a little bit.
This is my happy shirt, right? I wear it so that when it's all too much on the screen, I look down and go,
what are you saying? It's all too much on the screen. It only means happy.
Don't force me to say that. I would have done this all of this.
Righto.
There's dust on the road and noise in the air. Truth gets buried when the loud don't care. So for the saddle up, riding straight and true. Bella Frackman, snarky, Gman riding through. Welcome to the open view. Open view, mate, pull up a chair. No spin, no fluff, just the facts laid bare. From the bush to the cities, we'll see the whole thing through. Bella Frackman, snarky, G-Man riding through. This is the open view. Hey, yeah. We're raising our voice in a world gone mad, calling out the nonsense, cutting through the bad. No smoke, no mirrors, no miracle cure brew. Just Bella Frackman, snarky, G-Man